Hi, good morning. How is everybody? Leah here. Um, in case you didn't know, I've been doing a series of lives, and I've been going live inside of my private group, Revitalize Lounge. And today I'm coming to you on my main page, and I'm going live every day from now until December 21st, sharing tips and insights and information about how to take care of ourselves and be our best as ambitious women. So I'm going to quickly share this to my group and then I will get started. It takes me just a second here. If you're on live with me, go ahead and say hi in the comments so I can say hi back. Let me know where you're watching from. And let's see, that looks like it's good to go. Okay, so I can't see you like while I'm talking, so go ahead and comment and then I'll come back and check this at the end and make sure that I didn't miss anybody. So in case you don't know me, my name is Leah Borski. I am the best-selling author of the book Eat to Beat Stress, and I am a stress relief and nutrition coach for ambitious women. So I have been coaching, wellness coaching for the last 5 years. And before that, I worked for 7 years remotely in the medical field. So I've been a work-at-home mom for 12 years altogether, and mostly have had at least one of my kids home with me full-time while I'm working on my business and writing my books and everything else. And so I mentioned the other day that after 5 years of wellness coaching, I'm shifting my focus. It used to be mainly weight loss. That's what women came to me for. That was what I knew to help people with. The nutrition for weight loss, the healthy habits for weight loss. And I'm shifting now to more focus on stress relief and preventive wellness practices. And when it comes down to it, it's basically the same tools and the same habits that we're trying to instill, but the outcome and the process and the feeling while incorporating all of those into our busy lives is what is different and shifting. Because what I've found over the years is that when women are focused on weight loss specifically and only, a lot of the other parts get missed. So it feels like another thing we have to do. It feels like not good. It feels like a punishment. It feels like we're doing something to fix ourselves or to fix what we've been doing wrong for however many years. Go away. My dog's bugging me. Sorry. You know, and it's really hard to let go of that when our focus is on a number on the scale or the size of our clothes, or what we feel like we're supposed to look like. You know what I mean? So you might have seen the post that I shared. I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. My days are like blending together. But I shared a meme, and it was just a woman in a yoga pose, and there was a message about what if we ate well and exercised out of love for ourselves versus as a way to punish ourselves for a body that we hate, or a way to punish ourselves for not being good enough. And in my coaching practice, I have found that it can be really hard to make that shift when the focus for that person is is that number. I never liked putting a focus on a number, but when people have a goal to lose weight, obviously they want a result that shows that they've achieved their goal. So that's a really easy way to have a tangible way to measure that. For most of the years of my weight loss coaching, I actually encouraged women to get rid of their scale. Don't weigh yourself constantly. If you need to weigh yourself, maybe once every couple of weeks, because our bodies fluctuate normally anyway, and it can be really frustrating and it can be really deflating, like demoralizing, to keep checking and feel like you're doing all these things and you're working so hard and nothing's happening. So I would encourage them to, and I would do this myself, to don't use the scale, use a tape measure instead. It's more telling about the progress you've made, because all these changes that are happening in your body aren't mainly reflected in how much you weigh on the scale anyway. It's more about how you feel in your body composition. And the other thing is, I started to find that a lot of women needed to have healthier habits and healthier practices to help with their stress, to help with their stress levels while they're trying to balance all these things. I tend to attract people, women who have a ton of stuff on their plate, because that's me too. I have a business. I'm an author. I homeschool my 2 kids. My husband is in the military, so he has been gone a lot over these years, and it's been all left to me to do everything while I'm doing all this other stuff. I tend to attract those kind of women, and ambitious women need stress relief. They need to take care of themselves. They need to put themselves first and not feel like it's an extra thing on their to-do list. And so what I have found is that even women who don't need to lose weight still need these habits in place to help them manage the stress, to help them feel taken care of, to feel good overall. You can look like picture perfect healthy and be a total mess inside, and vice versa. So I really, really have decided to let the focus on what our bodies look like as far as size and shape and everything else be kind of an afterthought, and something that comes after the other stuff, which is way more important, which is taking care of ourselves out of caring for ourselves, not out of striving for this perfection that can never happen. It's so it can draw us down this really negative path when we are constantly trying to achieve this thing that's not possible, and that's not healthy for us either. Your body will stop at a certain point, because it's like, this is it. This is the size that you're, the smallest size you're meant to be. Every woman is not built to be a size 2 or a size 4 or whatever, and when we're striving for that, and we can't achieve it because we're just not built that way, and our body is telling us, this is it. This is not healthy for you to go any further than that, So this is why I'm shifting things, why I'm shining the light on this totally other aspect of wellness and health, preventive health, because when we ignore our body's needs and and our bodies tell us what they need. And sometimes it's really hard for us to hear that, especially when we're going all the time. We don't pause to listen. And what I've learned over especially the last 5 years, is that when you don't listen, when your body's whispering, it will get louder and louder and louder. And sometimes that looks like, illness. Your body will just shut down. You're sick, because you have to rest. And that's the only way your body knows to tell you, like, okay, you really need to stop now and like rest. So now you're going to be sick. You're going to have to stay in bed for 3 days or whatever it is, right? Sometimes it shows up in other ways. And for me, about 2 years ago, it showed up as what I found out later was burnout. I didn't know what was happening at the time. I just felt not right. I didn't feel like doing any of the things that I needed to do. I didn't feel like doing any of the things that I like to do. I was exhausted all the time. I knew how to eat right, and I was exercising, and it wasn't doing what I needed. It wasn't giving me what I needed. And what I found out later was that it was burnout. It was 5 years of being basically a single mom with 2 kids and a husband who was gone, and not living in the same house with us, and taking on all the responsibilities of that. And I've talked about this, before, so I'm not going to go too detailed into that, but it's just, I felt like there was something wrong with me, that I couldn't do all this stuff, that everybody else has this all figured out, that everybody else is doing this, this, and this. They're not stressed. They're dealing with it just fine. Why can't I? What's wrong with me? And I've come to learn in the 2 years since then how common that is, how much we beat ourselves up over something that's totally normal, and we're just taking too much on. And I know how it feels to have all these things that we really want, that are important to us, that we want in our lives, that we're not willing to give up. I can't imagine giving up my writing or my recipes or my coaching, and connecting with all these amazing women, and being home with my kids. I couldn't give any of those pieces up. So I had to find a way to manage it in a way that doesn't deplete me, that doesn't create so much stress and overwhelm that I'm like frozen and unable to cope with all the stuff. And so learning that has inspired me to want to reach out and find more women, because I know that there are so many women like me who have so much. There's nothing that you want to let go, but you don't know how to manage it all without like feeling totally frazzled and overwhelmed. And so I'm taking what I've learned from my personal experience and from my coaching experience and my education and my medical experience and everything else, and pulling it all together and using it specifically to help ambitious women who get what I'm talking about right now, and know that there has to be a better way, and know that there has to be a way to be able to still do all this and not feel just frozen, overwhelmed all the time. So I found, in considering all of this, another part of it for me is I want to live in a world where we don't judge ourselves for not being enough. Whatever we are is enough. We constantly slam ourselves. We're not doing enough. We're not thin enough. We're not this enough. We're not that enough. We live in a culture that's constantly bombarding us with these messages that you need this because you're not enough of this, or you need that because you're not enough of that. And I want to be part of this movement of flipping the switch on this, because I don't want my kids to grow up in the world that I grew up in, being told that, well, you'd be so good looking if you were, tall and thin and blonde, which is exactly the opposite of what I was and am. That you're the things that we're just constantly, the messages that we're directly and indirectly bombarded with, that we need to build from the inside out, shield against that, protection for ourselves against that. And when we treat ourselves and take care of ourselves out of love and respect for ourselves, those messages can keep coming, and that's fine, but we don't have to absorb them. We don't have to be affected by them. We don't have to believe them. And that's what I want for my kids. I want my daughter to grow up not caring that the guy said that nasty thing to her, or that, at 4 years old in preschool, she had a girl who had her convinced that her clothes weren't pretty enough. She didn't wear dresses, so her clothes weren't pretty enough at 4 years old. And she was hurt by that. And that is not what I want for my kids. Do not want them growing up thinking that they need to please anybody else by what they're doing for their own selves. And that they don't have to fit this mold of what everybody thinks everybody should be, that most everybody isn't anyway. There's this myth of perfection that everybody's trying to achieve, and there's no possible way to achieve it because it doesn't exist. It's not there. There's no way to do that. What we need to do is take control of our own selves, meet our own needs, care about our own wants and needs, and take care of those, and do it out of love for ourselves and not for anybody else. And that is what I believe the future of healthcare is going to be, preventing these burnout episodes, preventing the stress, preventing all the disease and disorders that come from abusing our bodies, from not eating well, from not exercising, from not listening to what our bodies need, and taking the time to invest in ourselves and reap the rewards from that. That is what I feel is coming, and that is what I want to be a part of. And I am working so hard to be part of this culture that's changing and using simple, healthy habits to make us feel good, and feel good all day, every day, and infusing those into our busy lives so that we can feel good while we're engaged in the habits, and feel good, just overall, day to day, day in and day out. So I'm building a community of ambitious women who want this, who want to feel good overall, who want to learn how to let go of that myth of perfection, who want to learn how to infuse those healthy habits into their lives in a way that doesn't feel like another thing to do, but just feels natural and feels good while you're doing it, and helps you actually achieve all the other things that you are working to achieve in your life. So if that sounds like a place that you would like to be, I will post the link below. I would love to have you join us. It's a private group. It's for women only. It's explicitly judgment-free, drama-free. I don't allow that kind of stuff, because I don't like that kind of stuff, and I don't engage in that kind of stuff myself. And that's not the kind of community that I want to build. So that's what I have share with you today. I hope that this has been helpful for you, maybe eye-opening for you, inspiring, or you know, anything. Let me just check and make sure I don't have any comments here, and then I will be on my way, because I have some things to create inside of that group that I'm sharing just with those ladies. Okay, so I don't see anything there. Let me just check my other. Oh, shoot. Sorry, one more second. I just want to make sure I don't miss anybody. And then if you watch the replay, if you catch me later on the replay and you have questions or comments, I would love to hear those, and I will circle back. Oh, hi, Janet. Thanks for being on. Oh, good. Janet says, this is so perfect for me this morning. Feeling good all day, every day. Yeah. It's so important. I think we take for granted until we're kind of slapped in the face with something where it's like, we obviously don't feel good now. And so preventing that from happening is so important and helps us be so much more effective. And I want to work with women who have their own mission, who have their own passion for making their own change, their own ripple in the world. And in order to be able to do that, you have to take care of yourself first. So thanks, Janet, for sharing that. And I'm glad that this has been helpful for you. And I hope that this is helpful for everyone else watching. And I will be back on tomorrow morning, same time, same place, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. And I don't know what I'm going to talk about yet, but I know it's going to be good. And I think I'm going to share like some specific tips for getting over the perfection myth. I think that might be where I go with it tomorrow. We'll see, but I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for being on. Bye-bye.